I do have a question, though. Why is it 3 rivers? And I only seen 1 river, but I've seen like 10 bridges. Why is it not 10 Bridges Stadium? Anybody have that answer?
There's 2 rivers that combine into the Ohio River.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the 3 rivers.
Okay.
Although somebody made a good point, they should have never called it the Ohio River. They should have called it the Allegheny River the whole way. right, yeah.
Well, let Trump get a hold of it. He'll make it Gulf of America, don't you?
And they actually, where they meet, you can see the distinction of the two rivers. It's almost like where the Pacific and the...
one is dirtier, one is dirtier than the other.
Yeah.
The Monongahela has more industry, and the Allegheny comes from up north in the Allegheny National Forest, so there's not a lot of dirt.
Yeah, so you can actually see where the difference in water is. If you go up to the incline, if you make it up there tonight,
That's my run. It's my run for tonight. Work on my quads.
The Allegheny.
Howard,
You're going to run up the incline.
Sure, why not?
Okay.
There used to be
We'll come to
stairs
the
going
cocktail
up there,
party
so.
first, so you can get some energy for it,
Oh, dude.
and then you'll have all the energy you need to run up the incline.
I don't know. Brian Trimble and Howard Solomon. We're talking about a little bit about everything. We got the IMI. You guys are responsible for a lot of stuff that's going on back here.
I prefer just to talk about masonry.
You want to talk about masonry? All right, go ahead. Start. Talk to me. What's going on with the IMI and masonry, man?
So, we have IMI offices all over the place, and we always see is a lot of people very excited about the use of masonry. Architects want to use masonry. A lot of times they're not allowed to use masonry because of the perception of higher cost and slower schedule, and that's not true.
All right, well, sell me then. If I'm the architect, I don't want. Sell me then. Tell me it's not true and tell me why.
Well, again, the efficiency of design is the biggest thing.
Right.
A lot of engineers over-design masonry needlessly. And if they were to design it more efficiently, having reinforcing bars spaced further apart, not having as many redundant things, masonry can be competitive with wood and steel structures.
Do you think they do that on purpose?
No, I think again, Howard gets involved with a lot of this stuff as well, and he sees the same thing as I do. It's like they just don't feel comfortable.
Yeah, it actually goes beyond them feeling comfortable, and we've had interaction with some of the universities around here and talked to their engineering professors about trying to incorporate masonry in the structural engineering program, and they weren't taught it when they were in school, so they're not teaching it to their students, so they can't even incorporate it because they don't know enough about it. So they're taught about steel, they're taught about mass timber, they're taught about concrete, but they're not taught how to design efficiently or properly with masonry because their professors don't know how to do it either. So we've actually looked into how can we incorporate that into your curriculum, how can we get you guys involved, what can we do to get the professors, the educators, educated on how to teach it.
And just like specmix is really promoting the trades, we also try to promote the idea that masonry is something that's valuable to learn in universities.
How do you do that? How do we incorporate? How do we get that into the? I mean, now I know there's some high school level type schools that they're building for these trades, but how do you bump it up a little bit?
I think it's commitment of the industry to make sure that they're always there to help out where necessary. Our local BAC union is very good in getting to the schools and getting to the kids to understand what the importance is.
Yeah.
And when you talk to Anthony Joseph, he can explain a lot of the things that he's doing.
Okay, so much of the work you guys do is with the architectural side, but it sounds like we almost need to start on the engineering side to be able to get them out of the same specifications that they've always been using. Is that kind of the idea? Maybe the first line of defense we got to penetrate?
We need to do a full frontal assault across all lines. Because again, it's important to talk about the structural aspects for the interior of the structure, but it also is important to talk about the veneers and so on. So it really is both. I mean, maybe we've not done as good a job to talk to engineers as we've done to architects, and maybe that's where things can start. And we do a lot of different programs for each of those groups.
I will say that we were able to get a program started at the university, Carnegie Mellon University, where they actually do a hands-on program with their second year materials class, where one of their assignments is to design something using masonry, and then with the assistance of Local 9 and Brian and myself and some local manufacturers, we go to campus and then they actually build their designs. So this is going to be our third year doing it. This year it's an arch project. So we're trying to incorporate the same thing with Pitt, that has a great engineering program, but that's where it's kind of a, how do we get involved? But I mean, we've started the process, and you're right, it does have to be hit with the engineers. The engineers are holding, I don't want to say holding back, but like Brian said, they're over-engineering masonry to now where it's value engineered out, and that's value engineered. I don't know who came up with that phrase, but all they do is add more maintenance costs to the project.
We call them bean counters. That's who came up with that term.
I'm trying to be a little bit nicer about it, but
No, I think that's the perfect place, to get your foot in the door, not worrying about trying to put an entire program together or a class together, but just getting involved in a section of their learning. I think that's a great idea.
What about masonry in Pittsburgh in general? What's going on here?
I think we have a great history of masonry in Pittsburgh. I mean, the fact that Fort Pitt is made out of stone and brick is a great example of where things have started. And then over the centuries, again, masonry has been a big part of this. In many cases, the blast furnaces that are used to make steel are lined with refractory brick. So all that stuff comes back to masonry. And again, a lot of the buildings you see in downtown Pittsburgh are all glass. And, that... I'm sorry to see that because again, how long will they last? They're already talking about tearing down Mellon's, the Mellon building and so on. And again, I think masonry has that long history here because it is so durable.
It's so much easier to throw a brick through glass.
absolutely. I've done it before.
Yeah.
It was my car window, but we got it. I will say that, think about it this way.
Yeah.
This is called Steel City, right?
Right.
Yes.
But the foundation of Steel City is 100% masonry.
Yeah.
Even the founders of all the steel plants and all that, their homes and their initial businesses were all made out of masonry. Why? Because it's sustainable, it's long lasting. So, yeah, we're Steel City. Great. But
The Pittsburgh Brickers.
They're actually,
you know what? I don't know. I mean,
better term.
we can change the football team to the Pittsburgh Brickers.
Yes.
But we don't have to get into that.
We won't get into that.
Not the steel curtain, the brick wall. See, that sounds great.
That sounds much better than my thoughts. Yes.
I would have appreciated that for something like that. So what do we do? How do we just not get the word out, but how do we change the mindset? And I think that you have to start somewhere. So what do you do? What's up here in you guys, and what are you thinking about doing? How do we do this?
Well, and again, talking about a full frontal assault. Again, I think it's creating awareness, and then showing them how to do it, and then show them examples of how it's been done well. And again, just keep hitting them on all those different areas. Again, so now whenever they walk into their office in the morning and say, I'm going to design a building today, they're going to say, it should be probably masonry.
Is there anything you can do inside the current parameters that you have right now? I mean, is there a way to pitch an architect on the speed of masonry? Maybe if there's better planning involved through the mason contractors and education from you guys, maybe there's a way to speed the job up. So maybe the material itself may be a little bit higher cost, but the job total may not be. Is that something you guys look at? Or?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we're looking at in our environment nationally, I guess, is kind of helping us to a certain degree because masonry is manufactured locally, so there's no tariffs on it. Not to get political at all, but it's just reality.
Yeah.
Most of the steel that's used in this region is not coming from this region. It's still coming from overseas, so you're paying more for it. You're waiting for it to be shipped in, whereas as soon as everything is signed off, the masonry can start the next day. You can't really and make any adjustments once you've got the steel ordered. It is what it is. It's the size it is. If there's a problem with it, you're waiting another 3 to 6 months for the new steel to come in. Wow. Whereas with masonry, they're cutting it on site, or the manufacturers are 15, 20 minutes away. So the whole idea of buy locally, build locally, you're feeding the local economy. Every time you're building with masonry, you're feeding the guys that work at the block plant, the guys that work at the brick plant. You're keeping the tax revenue, you're keeping the money in your region, as opposed to shipping it out to
Somewhere
who knows
else.
where,
Yeah,
another
somewhere
country.
else.
So honestly, I would love to see some sort of legislation created about, buy locally, build locally, even if it's just in Pennsylvania. I would love to see something like that. But again, that's something that we can try to work towards. We have organizations like the association. We've got the Beauty of Block, the Block Checkoff program. And I think the advocacy to try to help from that area, help with the codes to make it where there's certain requirements.
But the codes aren't that difficult.
No, the codes aren't that difficult. I know Brian is on the code committee, so
Right.
hopefully he can work his magic.
Yeah, well, and again, the masonry codes are relatively easy to use.
Right.
A lot of times what comes into play are the things like the energy code, which are, being more stringent every time they change them. There's more insulation in walls. And of course, now that pushes the brick veneer further out because now you have more insulation in those walls. And so again, a lot of times it's because of other materials or other systems that sort of create this problem. The masonry codes, if the engineers follow the masonry codes, they will design efficient buildings. It's when they go beyond that and they forget to use them, that's some of our problems.
But, I mean, we're sitting here and we're talking, and it sounds pretty logical and pretty cut and dry, but yet, why is there such blowback? And what is the main reason that everybody is like,
I would say part of it is cost.
Yeah.
The developers, and I found this where developers are, if they're staying in the city and they're not just looking for the 5-10 year turnaround, they're more vested in the building.
yeah,
So they're going to think long term about property insurance. They're going to think long term about maintenance of the building. You've got some of these buildings, they're going up, they're being flipped in 5-10 years. So the developer doesn't care what it's going to cost to repair that building in 15-20 years. It's not their problem. So one of the things I think is ultra important is, even though masonry in studies shows to not even be any more expensive than building with other building materials, the fact that the maintenance of that building is so much less, along with the property insurance, because let's face it, if a masonry building catches fire, okay. If a wood building catches fire, it's just gone.
yeah.
So replacement,
yeah. I mean, so it's.
And I think part of it's the culture. The problem is we really want to show life cycle costing, life cycle assessment, and then that's where masonry wins. And trying to change that culture has been what we've been dealing with, because again, our society is so much about it's a throwaway society. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm gonna, but this clothes, these jacket doesn't fit me. I'm gonna throw it away and I'm getting a new one. If you could make the whatever it is last a little bit longer, why even start with new materials?
Do you think maybe that to change that mindset, maybe it's to implement a lot of these programs into schools and get them to realize that, hey, this is really where we should be. We should be teaching about the longevity of something like brick. And once we instill that in them and catch them younger, and let them know, maybe it might be a slow transition, but down the road, you're looking at something that might be more successful.
Technology is so sexy. And so everybody's lured to do, buy the newest iPhone, do AI and things like that. And that's part of the masonry's issue is we're tried and true, and we will stay that way, and we will be there when you have iPhone 35 and things like that. And I think that, again, that's what we're working against as well. Is there's so many school districts that are going on to the next thing. They've changed from having trade-specific things into just construction technology, and that may be thinking it's like, oh, what a great idea, but in reality is maybe that doesn't really help us much.
Does the thought of AI and moving forward into things like you have robotics, does that dissuade people from maybe going the masonry route?
No. So I think, again, these tools will help the masonry industry. So, again, we see a lot of people on job sites with iPads. And so now they're using those iPads to help lay out things. So, again, you're still going to have somebody lay the brick or lay the block or set the tile and so on. But it's going to be all the things that help us get to that point, I think, where AI and things like that and technology will help us.
Okay.
You mentioned the checkoff program, and you kind of skirted around the concept of it. Sure would be nice to have some lobbying, to get some laws changed. Give us an idea of where we are with that. Are you guys familiar?
Yeah, I actually, for AIA Pittsburgh, I'm on the
Code advocacy.
Yeah, the advocacy committee. We actually formed a Masonry Coalition of Pennsylvania through AIAPA to reach the architects statewide, because there are a lot of architects out of Philadelphia that are designing in Pittsburgh and vice versa. And I did that more because of the advocacy part. And I know the checkoff program is very, very involved in advocacy as well. It is a tough issue because there are, and I don't mean to say this harshly, but you can't necessarily teach an old dog new tricks. So there's a whole generation of older folks that are set in their ways, that they're not going to change. And I honestly don't feel like it's worth trying to change their mind. But in the same sense, there's that next generation, I guess my generation of people, they're starting to rise to the top of these companies, these development companies, the architectural firms, the engineering firms, that are more inclined to be open-minded. They're not so set in the, well, this is the way we've always done it. Just as I believe Adam said in the past time, this is the way we've always done it, so this is the way we're going to do it. Just because it was done that way in the past doesn't make it the best way to do it, doesn't make it the most efficient way to do it, and doesn't make it the smartest way to do it. Yeah. So I think part of the problem is that people are not willing to change their mindset. They're trying to stay up to date with the technology, with AI, with everything else. So if it's something where it comes to masonry versus steel, it's just something they don't even want to think about sometimes, because they've got too many other things to focus their mental capabilities on.
Brian, you're a Mason guy. I mean, and
I've only been around for 40 years, but whatever.
I mean, you've got a lot of wisdom to impart on these young people and kind of guide them and let them know. I mean, what do you think about stuff like what we're going to be doing out here, with the junior bricklayers, the junior block layers, and, you got the MCAA Skills Challenge in Vegas for the World of Concrete. A lot of this stuff is, it's important for, what we're talking about right here.
Again, everything is so visual nowadays that I think they need to see the excitement that specmix brings. I mean, these contests are just, again, a way to say, hey, there can be some excitement here. I don't need to, do the latest TikTok stupidity thing or whatever.
I would like to take a brick and smash some of their phones.
Right, yeah.
I'm not kidding.
So again, I think just seeing that, and then again seeing the capability and talking to people who are already in the trades. Again, hopefully aren't just fuddy-duddy and stick in the mud, but actually have some forward-thinking ideas.
I wasn't talking about you, Brian.
I know you weren't, but whatever. So I think again, just exposing the kids, to what can happen and how they can make their own lives and their careers, I think is really impactful.
I mean, we're going to have 500, 600, 700 kids out here for the regional. Yep. This is something new. They're trying to build this. I believe I heard the term, small Vegas type.
Yeah, mini Vegas.
Mini Vegas. That's a big deal because that creates so much excitement. Mm-hmm. It's the number one event at Vegas in the World of Concrete. It is so well attended. To get something like that out here, that could be a game changer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Getting the kids involved, and you guys will be speaking to Anthony after us, I believe, and he has done a tremendous job with the youth in the region, working with the CTCs. They're all excited about it. They come to any event we have, whether it's Build On or this event. They're truly involved in it, and they've got instructors and they've got people at Local 9 and they've got the people that are sitting up here that are invested in them to help them be successful. So to be able to have them come out here tomorrow and compete. The junior block layer is new. This is the first year we're doing it. Right. But to have them come out here and compete, and they have an opportunity to showcase their skills, not just to their fellow students, but to the mason contractors that are possibly going to hire them in a year or 2 years or whatever it is. It's a great interview.
It is a great interview, a chance to put on a show.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to figure if you come in first, you're going to have the top mason contractors in the region be like, you need to talk to me when you graduate. And that's pretty much, that's part of the excitement. I do want to kind of go back to what you guys were talking about with TikTok, and I would like to add, because I have kids in the TikTok range, so to speak. Sometimes I think you almost have to meet them where they are. Okay. So
that's true.
If we're all sitting up here, and I'm not a TikTok fan, I have no problem saying I am not. But if all these kids are on TikTok, why shouldn't we then use TikTok to try to reach them? Have somebody where it's one of the trainers, a young trainer possibly, that can actually do a live feed from the job sites. You've got to get somebody who's willing to do it. You've got to get a mason contractor who's okay with letting it happen. But I think if that is done and you build up a following that way, there is somebody I believe out of Texas that does that, the Masonry Girl.
Yeah.
Sure, you guys have heard of her.
Yeah,
Ashton.
Yeah,
She does a great job with it.
Yeah.
I think if we could do something like that, not exactly like that, and it could be a tag team where it's, you know, a male and a female just working together, showing that this trade is not just about some burly guy smoking cigarettes or whatever it is.
No,
These guys are.
She smokes cigarettes.
No, I don't watch her that much.
No, she doesn't.
But I mean, my point is, if we could, if we're not reaching them in
Right.
the way we're trying to,
Yeah.
I think sometimes we need to retrain ourselves as the older generation, like that's not on TikTok. That if this is how to reach them, if this is where they are at, then meet them there and see if we can get that following. See if
Okay.
we can get a local following.
We're going to do that, and I want this on camera recording. So we're going to start a new series. We'll start it here. We're going to call it TikTok Brick Block,
And there you go.
TikTok brick block.
Yeah.
and I think that's what we. Look, I got a little thumbs up from Anthony over there.
You might want to copyright that.
Jim, would you do that for me, please? Jim Patches, who is over there.
The Eagles fan, we're good with that.
TikTok Brick Block. That's it. It's mine.
All right, gentlemen, we know the kids are coming. We talked a little bit about it, but you guys were instrumental in bringing architects to this project
Yeah.
as well, right?
Yeah.
Do you know how many are coming, or walk us through that process? How's that work?
Well, again, you know, we have these educational sessions all the time, but now that we can combine it with this event, it just makes that much more exciting. So we have a couple of presentations in the morning before everything gets started, and we bring in architects and engineers. This year we have 40 people, designers, but half
That's
architects,
nice.
half engineers that are coming here to listen to a couple of the presentations. And again, I think that just makes this event broader.
I will say that
appealing.
it went up from, I think, 23 the first year to maybe 29, 20, 30 last year,
Right.
and now we're up to 40. So it's every year the event is growing, whether
Yeah.
it's the number of students, whether it's the number of just people around. I mean,
And the fact
it
that
is growing.
and the fact that we have repeat attendees. Now,
Yes.
again, the programs, the seminars
That's
are different set topics,
Yes.
but again, we're still at this event, and again, they're here for the whole experience.
All right, I think it's great. We look forward to those presentations tomorrow. I think it's going to be amazing. Let's throw out a number. You want this to be the Vegas show? Give me some numbers on who's going to win the regional slot to head to Vegas. What do you got for a number? Something above 500. What do you think?
Oh, that's tough. I'm going to say 574.
574. Brian, what do you got?
612. I mean,
612.
we've had
I
some
mean-
people practicing, and I've heard some high numbers. So
I mean, if this is the
anything's
price is
possible.
right, though, then I'm going with one.
Yeah, $1.
I'm going with one if this is the price
$1.
is right. That person always gets on stage.
Howard, Solomon, Brian Trimble, thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your day to sit with us and listen to the trains go by here in Pittsburgh. I think we had 3 trains. I'm not sure, but you know, we leave that to the audio guy. He'll take care of it and pull all that stuff out. But we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you betcha.
We will be here.
Rain,
Awesome.
rain or
Thank you.
shine.
We're not done yet, though.
Rain or shine.
We've got more guests. I don't know. What do we call the name of this podcast again? What is it? The SPECmix Pro Series? I got to get that name in every once in a while.
SpecMix Bro Series?
No, Pro Series. TikTok Brick Block.
You can't say
Man.
pro when you've got Kim right there.
Oh man, yeah. Oh, Kim's mad. No, she's not. She always smiles.